Hi guys, welcome to our second Tactical Gaming League of Legends video. Today we're going to be covering some generic tips that should be applicable to all roles, and these are going to be tips to help you climb in Season 11. So our first tip here is going to be setting up the right environment. And you might immediately be thinking that this is just a super generic tip, but I cannot stress the importance that this has, okay? If you want to succeed in solo queue, you really need to make sure that when you are playing solo queue, you're doing it in the right way. So what I mean by that is, first off, you're not tired, you've had enough sleep. Being able to be awake and be cognizant is really, really important to get the most out of solo queue. And this applies to anything in life. If you're trying to put as much effort into something and apply a lot of brain power to something, having enough sleep is really, really important. The second thing is going to be making sure you've eaten enough. Again, pretty straightforward, but I really will repeat this. I cannot stress the importance of these things, okay? Make sure you eat means you've got enough energy and you're eating healthily. To some extent, you know, if I've had a ton of junk food the last like 2-3 days, I feel bloated and horrible, and this can affect your solo queue as well, okay? And then thirdly, again, super straightforward, but I cannot stress the importance, is having drunk enough water. If you're hydrated, it makes a huge amount of difference. When I'm dehydrated, I just don't have the same energy. I don't have the same brain power to apply to League of Legends, and I can't get the most out of my sessions in that way. So make sure you guys set up the right environment when you're sitting down to play solo queue. Our next tip is going to be making sure that you don't have any distractions. For me personally, I found that when I was at university, I would use League as a way of procrastinating doing my work. And this would mean that when I was playing League, I would have the distraction of having the essay in the back of my mind, and just making sure you do your best to put in a couple hours into an essay, and then using League perhaps as a break is better than just using League as a way to procrastinate, because it will end up distracting you and it will make it harder to concentrate on playing the game, and then you won't be getting as much out of your sessions as you could. My next tip, which is probably going to be the most important for a lot of you guys, is to have a narrow champion pool. I cannot stress the importance of this, okay? Because when you're playing way too many champions, your mechanics on the champions that you're playing is just going to be nowhere near someone who's playing 3 or 4 different types of champions, okay? So really narrowing down your champion pool is going to be so, so important. And then one thing that comes with that is being able to create a balanced champion pool while you're playing solo queue, okay? In solo queue, it's so important that you have a mixed damage type. So at least having one AP or AD can be really important in any type of champion pool. On the screen now should be a list of example champion pools. But top lane, jungle, AD carry, mid lane, and support. There should be an example of different champion pools. Let's look at the jungle one, for example. Here we've got Echo, Graves, and Sejuani. Okay, this is a nice balanced pool. You have an AP jungler, an AD jungler, and a tank jungler. All right, so there's a little bit of balance. On AD carry, you might be thinking, well, we can only play AD champions. It's not actually true. At the moment, some of the best ones are AP carries, like Swain, for example, really good. The one I've listed up here, a really good AP carry for you guys to play. Tip number 4. This one is going to be about how you approach solo queue. First thing you have to do is play solo queue. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people, they'll do norms, ARAMs, but the problem with this is that you're not going to be playing at the level that you are at. And the only way to improve at something is to play at the level you're at or above, okay? So what I mean by that is you have to get in the game and you have to play. And when you are playing, you need to make sure that your mindset is correct. And by that, I mean you have to be focused on your own performance and how you can perform the best for you, okay? If your distractions are on your teammates all the time, you're not going to be able to improve. And that's really, really important. Your mindset when you approach solo queue needs to be on your own performance. And it's really easy to say that and so hard to do. This is such a difficult thing to do. It's so easy to blame your teammates, have excuses all the time, because that's what our natural instinct is. But the reality is you just have to focus on your own performance, and that would be how you will get the most out of solo queue. And then when you are playing solo queue and focusing on your own performance, play as many games as you can. If you make an improvement that maybe wins you 10 games out of 100, okay? You won't notice that till you've played those 100 games, and that'll push you from being a 50% win rate player in 100 games to 60% win rate player in 100 games. So you really just need to put in the effort and put in the time to improve. That's the truth about a lot of things in life as well. These are not just tips that you can apply to playing League and improving at League. These are tips that you can apply for life in general. Okay, put in the time and make sure that your focus is on your own performance. Okay. What is so important to understand is that when you're playing League and playing ranked solo queue, it's not about LP gains, okay? The LP gains will come if your performance improves, okay? If you continue to get better at the game, you will continue to gain more LP. That's the way it works. The LP gains don't come and then, oh, you've improved because you've gained LP. No, the LP gains are a product of your own personal performance. So that's also something you have to really, really understand. Our next tip is going to be kind of tying in the last two, the champion pools and the playing solo queue one together, okay? So this tip is about having alternate accounts. If you want to play different champions and you want to just do something different and you don't want to be super try hard on your main account, go and play on an alternate account. This is something I do and it helps me so much. Some days I wake up and I want to play Sion. I want to play Camille. But the reality is I'm not so good at those champions. So rather than play them on their main and then impact the results of the improvements I've made in that role on the champions I'm playing, I'm going to play it on an alternate account instead. So that I'm still playing solo queue, my games are still serious, they're still of higher quality, but I get to play the champions I have for fun. And also that will help you long term as well, because if you're playing on an alternate account that's perhaps lower rank, learning how to carry games in lower elo can also be a massive thing that will help you climb on your main, because you know what it takes to be the 1v9 carry because you're playing in lower elos. You know how to maybe maximize gold to the absolute limit, which is what you need to do when you're smurfing, and then you can apply some of those lessons learned back onto your main. And this is something I also highly recommend. Have an alternate account, have fun on it. You know, sometimes if you're tilted on your main, go and play on this account. Don't drag your main account down. And these will be things that will help you climb, okay? Have alternate accounts. Now, my final tip, and this is, again, super, super important. This is about how you communicate with your teammates. So, there's two parts to this. The first one is muting people. I highly recommend that you go through, as you'll see on screen right now, and mute people as you get into a game. Don't use the function in the client, because that will also mute pings and it will disable you from being able to type. I will use typing sometimes in games. I will type calls like objectives, dragon, baron, and I will also make a specific effort to type good job to my teammates when they do something well, and my bad if I make a mistake. Those are the two times I will type most often, okay? Good job and my bad. I won't flame people because that will only ever provide a loss condition for the team. Any team comp that you ever play in, the loss condition is always that your teammates get super tilted. And if you're typing at them, they are going to tilt. That is going to be the result. You are never going to have players who then suddenly play better because you've typed at them. This does not happen. It is a myth. You need to understand this, okay? The second part to how you communicate with your team is going to be using pings. Always, always, always use pings. If you're going in for a gank, ping on the way, on the way, on the way. If you want your team, if your teammate has ultimate and you want them to use it, ping their ultimate. You can really abuse pings. Spam as much out of these as possible. Okay? Spam, spam, spam your pings. I promise you this will make a huge, huge difference. Alright guys, that's going to be it from us. I really appreciate you guys having watched this video. My recommendation to you guys would be to try to take one tip, implement it in your own gameplay for a couple weeks, and then see if you can add another tip on later on, and that will really, and you'll hopefully see the difference that the first tip made, and then that will encourage you to apply effort to putting in more tips. And I promise you guys, if you try to do this, you will have more success in season 11 than you did in season 10. I really, really appreciate, again, you guys having watched this video. That's going to be it from us here at Tactical Gaming League of Lessons. This is our second video. Like, subscribe, and tune in for our next. Thanks guys, peace.